Hello, welcome to the Fantasy Challenged podcast, episode 10, with me, the main host, Leighton, and the side guy, Challen. This is the episode, it's the Game Week 7 review, Game Week 8 preview. Right, Challen?
Yes, well done. Hello,
How are
Leighton.
you today?
I'm good. Pretty hot, but quite happy to be back in the swing of things,
Yeah,
heading up to the next game week. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's pretty hot here in the Northern Hemisphere as well. Surprising because it should be autumn. Did you enjoy the break from fantasy football?
I did indeed. It's been a delightful break that we've had, and honestly, I haven't missed it much, which is nice. But I'm happy to be back.
I think as well, what happened with the game week 7 is most people had a horrific week, especially with their captaincy choices or seemingly falling flat on their face. And so we were all quite happy to have a break. It was just a bit of relief, like, oh, it's international break. We don't have to think about this. So now we're back. And I think many people are going to activate the wild card, including maybe you.
Or maybe you.
No, I already wild carded a long time ago. Come on, talent. Get with the show.
Sorry.
So let's look at our game week 7, how we did. Let's start with me, the
Okay,
host of this
let's do
show.
that. How was your team this week?
Terrible. It
Can you
was
remember
it
what you
it
got?
was yeah, I can just about remember. I remember I took a -4. I think I took Trent out and I took DCL. I took DCL or Bamford out. I can't really remember now. And so I took a -4 and I got 38 points. And it was a terrible weekend because I captained Ronaldo and I found out Ronaldo was not playing. So I thought it's okay. I'll come off the bench and he'll score 3 goals. And he got me a huge 2 points. So I spent the whole weekend thinking, well, Antonio or Salah or Lukaku inevitably are going to score 2 goals. And I'm going to fall so far behind. But luckily, everybody's captain did terrible. So the star player of the week in my team, starting from the goal, was Sanchez with 6 points. Saved my week. Rudiger for Chelsea, he got me 2 points. Shaw, 2 points. And Marcel for Wolves got me a huge 3 points. My midfield, Saka came off right at the end, so only 3 points. Yota got 2 points. Salah, 13 points. And Traore, 1 point. Antonio, 2 points. My captain, Ronaldo, 2 points. And the Newcastle, the team at the moment, St. Maximum, 2 points.
Pretty different team overall compared to, I think, a lot of people. Like, I mean, you kept hold of Shaw, you opted to sell
Yeah.
Trent, many people
Mm-hmm.
held onto him. And you also had Traore, who unfortunately was benched again because of a certain other South Korean
Yeah.
player, who we'll mention a bit later. But yeah, you did pretty well considering the fact that you took a -4 and your rank didn't drop too much.
Mm.
Yeah, so you're looking pretty decent heading into this game week 8. What do you think? Are you scared of the wildcarders or not?
I'm definitely scared of the wild carders, especially with players like Son Heung-min. I think if people are wild carding, they'll probably bring in Son Heung-min. So that's definitely a worry. And there are certain Chelsea players I would be interested in having my team, which I can't necessarily get. And then Trent is now out of my team. So yeah, a little concerned going into the next game week.
Sure. I also got 38. Just I didn't take a -4 that week.
Yeah.
And my two transfers were Shaw and Ailing out for Rudiger and Livramento. And basically the same result as you. Captaincy blank from Lukaku. Unfortunate though. Uh, Salah being my high scorer with 13. And quite happy that I didn't have Ronaldo in the end because thankfully he blanked. And the rest of my team, you mentioned Sanchez, 6 points from him. Rudiger, 2. Semedo got 2. Sofel got 1, and he's yellow flagged. Jota got 2. Benrahma, 2. Rafinha, 3. Dennis got 1, so he's going to be out of my team soon. And Trent and Torres got themselves 0 on my bench. which we'll talk about a bit later, whether I'm considering keeping them or not. But yeah, looking forward to it.
And interestingly, in both of our teams, we both had Livramento in that third spot on the bench, but yet again, he gets the points.
He's the, don't want to say like the Lundstrom from previous seasons, but he's the easiest or the best 4.0, 4.1 player in the game, I would say. Plus he's starting, so it's a must-have, I think, in terms of value.
He's definitely a must-have in value, and I think this time, going into the next game week, if he's not in the first team, he's probably going to be the first on the bench, because I feel like he's going to get some points. And I think looking at your team as well going forward, Rafinha might be an issue with the Brazilian players and him playing another game in the international week. Do you know any more about that?
I waited up until today, I think, because they played 3 games in this break. The first 2 games he came off the bench, but he played very well, and so there were rumors that he was going to start the third game, which isn't ideal. But at the same time, I mean, yes, I have activated the wild card, and at the moment he is still in the team, and I'm quite happy with the setup that I have. I'm quite happy to keep him because he's playing well. Leaders' fixtures are very good, and the rest of my squad can handle benching him this week if need be. Would you consider buying him for someone like Traore, knowing what you know at the moment?
Knowing what I know now, I wouldn't buy him. So I'm a little concerned if he's going to come back and play or not. So right now, I would not buy him. But if he is playing, then those fixtures are just fantastic. But if he's not playing, Dan James could be a punt.
That's a 1 week punt, sure. Or you could just make
super 1 week.
Although you have to consider getting Trent back as well.
Yeah, for me, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if I had to choose between getting Trent or buying a potential Rafinha player, I'd probably go for Trent.
Yeah.
Knowing that. But let's get into a not wildcard discussion, but game week discussion from the last game week.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've forgotten about the results as much as I have, so it'll be a good refresher.
Yeah, looking at these scores, I'm trying to think. Really, is this what happened just 2 weeks ago? Was it just 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, barely.
I mean, the first game was Manchester United versus Everton.
Yeah,
probably not what we expected.
Yeah, Ronaldo being benched.
Yeah, and benching your best player, great. I'm sure Benitez was thrilled.
Absolutely, and I think in hindsight, it was expected because he played 90 minutes the week before, and then they played the last game in the Champions League on the Wednesday. So, and then
he scored that last-minute goal, right?
Yeah, so to expect him to start the next game that weekend and then have the international break, and yeah, he's bagged in the hat trick again this international break, but now they have, I think United's run for the next 6 games in all competitions is crazy. So I don't know. He's not going to play 90 minutes every week. So to me, it's a good sell, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's one of those difficult ones because we're looking at Lukaku. Lukaku hasn't played with Belgium. And so if Lukaku is injured, I'd keep Ronaldo. The only other person I'd want to go to is possibly Vardy. And I do think Ronaldo is going to score a few goals in those fixtures. So, yeah, it's quite difficult. I think he should be playing. I think any team that is playing Manchester United, when they see that Ronaldo's not playing, it must give them a psychological lift.
Definitely. And I think the more that they don't play him, as soon as he doesn't play a full game and the result is a bad one, it just adds to the likelihood of Solskjaer getting sacked before December.
Yeah. There must be so much pressure on Solskjaer now.
Yeah. Are you considering
that
keeping
was
Shaw
a bit
by any chance?
I think the problem with my team is there's so many things that could be changed because many players are flopping. Shaw's not doing great. He gave away a terrible penalty. for England. Oh, sorry, my cat is crazy. And yeah, so I'd like to get rid of Shaw because I don't see Manchester United keeping a clean sheet until possibly Watford. So Shaw's a priority, to be honest. I think his price is going to drop. And he's been an absolute... He is the player I'm most disappointed with in all of my team, probably.
Yeah, I think so too. If you were to rank, maybe I shouldn't ask you now. I'll ask you at the end. Don't worry.
Let's go through the results and do that.
Yeah. Burnley and Norwich, I have nothing to say. Burnley should have won.
Norwich, impressive. They got a point.
Yeah, well done.
Stick it to the man. They just need 11 more to match Derby's point record in the Premier League.
We don't want that.
No.
Chelsea, Southampton, did you watch this?
No. Actually, you know why I didn't watch this? Ronaldo had flopped, and you had Lukaku as captain, and I had many messages gloating like, "What did I tell you? Don't captain Ronaldo." And I thought, and so I get the update on my phone. Chelsea are up 1-0, and I think, "Oh my God, who scored?" I don't know who scored. Can't remember. I just remember thinking, "Thank God it's not Lukaku." I see it's 2 goals. It's not Lukaku. 3 goals. It's not Lukaku. And did Lukaku have a goal disallowed or an assist disallowed?
A goal disallowed for offside. Yeah.
So I saw it flashed up, Lukaku goal, VAR check or something. I just thought, I can't do any fantasy football streams with Challen anymore. I retire. I'm going to retire before I lose my hair.
I think it was a weird one because I think Chalobah scored the first goal, the cheap defender, and then Lukaku then got the offside goal. That's when I first messaged you, got excited, and then it was ruled out for, I guess, rightfully offside. And he had a couple of other chances, but it's so frustrating watching him and Werner play together because they have the potential to be so good and they link up so well. I think Lukaku could have had 2 assists, but Werner couldn't finish. And for the winner at the end of the game, Werner ended up tapping in like right in front of Lukaku. So on another day, he would be in front of Lukaku or in front of Werner. But yeah, good game overall.
Yeah, I saw Werner also scored for Germany as well. What?
Just laughing at your cat commentating.
I don't know why he's just sitting there going, "Meow." He's just having a good old time. And yes, I saw Werner scored for Germany. I think Newcastle should go get Werner this January.
That's actually a very good talking point. We can talk about that just now, just briefly. But yeah, there's a few players they should buy.
Yeah, there is a few. Newcastle is a big talking point, really. We should have mentioned this at the beginning of the stream.
Forgot entirely. Yeah, Steve Bruce
is he gone?
No, not yet. Actually, I haven't checked today. But as far as I know, no, not yet. They had the day off today.
I saw he took a training session, and I'm pretty sure he'll be gone. And Jose Mourinho will be back in the Premier League and win next year with Newcastle. But what's your thoughts on it, on Newcastle's takeover?
I'm happy for Newcastle that Mike Ashley is gone. I'm happy that they're going to inevitably spend money like crazy, which is good for them. It's a big club overall, so they need that kind of investment. It depends on who they end up getting as like a director of football and of transfers, so you don't buy stupid players like QPR did back in the day. And besides that, it also depends on their manager. I don't think they're going to me, I don't see the point in sacking him now, per se, because you're only going to sign players in January. But then again, I can see why you would sack Bruce now, because why not get the new manager in ASAP and let him choose his transfers before January? But yeah, as long as they have a long-term vision, I don't mind. We won't get into the moral and ethical sides of their owners because we can't control that. So it's neither here nor there. What do you think?
Yeah, the moral issue aside, I think seeing Newcastle the last, when we grew up, Newcastle had amazing players. They were so close to win the Premier League. And when I think of the Premier League, Newcastle is one of those teams that I think of. So for the fans for Newcastle, I think it's really well deserved because unlike Chelsea, they weren't founded in 2003, Challen. They, they
Debatable.
have some history. And, as a Chelsea fan, I think you've enjoyed these years since Abramovich has come in. And Chelsea have played great football. They've won the Premier League multiple times, just won the Champions League. It would be nice for Newcastle fans to win something more than the Championship. So I think it's kind of good for the Premier League.
Yeah.
I think you'll see the best players in the Premier League. I think hopefully it makes the Premier League more competitive with Chelsea having another rival, Man City. But then again, it might be more difficult for other teams to compete.
If you could, putting you on the spot, if you could sign one, don't say Messi or Ronaldo. If you could sign one player for Newcastle, realistically, who would you sign? Who do you think would actually consider joining?
I don't think it's realistic, but Haaland would be an insane signing. Like, would be incredible for Newcastle, but I just don't think he would go there. I don't think they have the players there at the moment. I think it's going to take quite a few seasons to build a team. And I don't think Newcastle are going to be competing for 5 or 6 seasons. And regarding Steve Bruce, you were just saying as well, maybe keep him in. But Newcastle are in a really dangerous position in the league.
Yeah.
And so, they're right down in a relegation battle. You don't want to give Steve Bruce 2, 3, 4 more games because you could be in a point next season where Newcastle inevitably are fighting a relegation battle. And they should have got rid of the manager earlier. So unfortunately for Steve Bruce, if I was the director and I want Newcastle to succeed, I'd probably get rid of him.
It does make sense, but they'd end up at the moment. They'd probably employ like the under 21s manager or the assistant manager until January probably. So I don't see I get the logic, but also don't. So
who would you bring in? You can bring on a player for Newcastle. Robert Earnshaw. Bring him back.
Craig Bellamy.
Craig Bellamy.
Probably the one that interests me most is Raheem Sterling.
Do you think he'd go to Newcastle though? I don't think that's realistic.
He hasn't played much this season. I think he's in his last year of his contract, or last 2 years. Throw a ton of money at him. Tell him he's going to be the center point of the team, which he hasn't been at City for ages. And tell him, okay, let's go try and win something, which I think he would enjoy.
I could see him going to a team like Arsenal, or
similar.
Another team that's definitely competing. But Newcastle, he's still young. He's still a great player. I don't think he'd go new. I think Newcastle should follow the Manchester City example. When Manchester City got all that money, they kind of went for the has-been players, the players who were towards the twilight. They went for Peter Schmeichel. They were like, okay, you.
Yeah, I mean,
Tevez. They just went for ex-Manchester United rejects. They're like, you used to be good. Get in.
At the same time, you don't want to get players who are just old. Again, like QPR did.
Yeah, but QPR are completely that
was bad. Anton Ferdinand.
Terrible.
Star signing. Sean Wright.
Yeah, I remember when they signed Ferdinand, and I was just like, "What? Why would you sign Ferdinand? It's ridiculous."
There's a few very nice options, but I think for me, I like the idea of you buy Sterling, and in their current team, you have Callum Wilson up front, fast striker. On the right, you have Saint Maximin, who's the creative winger, and then on the left, you have Sterling, who's again fast thing that he's doing at City. So it kind of works, but again, depends on what they end up doing around him and how much money they throw at him as well. But they're not going
to be a lot of money.
And I see people, I mean, they're linked with Coutinho and a couple of other Barcelona rejects, as well as obviously they're linked with Mbappe as well, which that's just stupid. It's not going to happen. But
I think that's just for the memes. Yeah. I like all the memes. Like, it's been my dream to play for Newcastle. Everybody's dream.
Anyway, Leeds and Watford. Did you watch that? Did you remember who scored? I don't.
I saw Dan James came off at halftime.
Oh yeah.
Was it Rafinha? Wasn't it Rafinha scored?
I think Rafinha scored. No,
Was it?
no,
No.
it wasn't him.
He was in your team. He got 3 points. Who was it?
I can't remember. I think it was a defender, Llorente, I think, off a corner. That's what comes to mind. But yeah, it just again, Leeds attacking very well. Good for them to get a win. And
Yeah. Not good for Watford.
yeah, was considering Saar on my wild card, but again, their fixtures aren't the best. So, and they just sacked their manager, got Ranieri. So who knows what they're going
That's
to do now?
another talking point.
Yeah,
The
I just
Tinkerman is
realized.
back. Oh my days, yeah. We've had a 2-week break. We're sorry to the audience. We're a bit rusty. We put a lot of effort into planning this as well.
We did. And Wolves versus Newcastle, a brace from Wang Hee Chan and a brace of assists from Jimenez. Were you annoyed after finding out that because you got Saint Maximin in, but your option up front was Jimenez? So were you annoyed? I know you didn't want triple Wolves, but
I wasn't annoyed because there was never any moment where I was going to put in a third Wolves player into the team. So I saw that Hwang Hee-chan is the one I'm a little sad about, because when he first joined, I was joking, oh, I want a South Korean player in my team. And I wasn't really willing to risk it, and he's been amazing. What a player. He's a strong boy, eh?
He's got the ability to finish as well, which is nice. It's kind of like he's got like Son in that sense. They're clinical finishes. So interested to see what he ends up doing. He's very cheap at the moment, maybe 5.6 now. So
yeah, he's cheap. He would be a good player if you have a wild card. He's a really good player to put in.
He's keeping your other signing out of your team at the moment, Traore. So
yeah,
hard to argue with him scoring.
And that's my regret, that I picked him and I didn't go with Townsend, or who was the other Everton player I was considering?
Gray?
Decore, maybe? Gray?
Gray.
One of those. It was one of those three. And they've done great. Since Calvert-Lewin's been gone, they've been doing really well. And my Wolves players just have not been doing well. My defender's been doing okay.
Yeah. Newcastle got on the score sheet, but who knows what they expect from them going forward. And then the main event of the weekend was Brighton and Arsenal 0 with a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, I was surprised by this, to be quite honest. But I did see it was absolutely lashing it down with rain in Brighton.
Yeah,
and I do think that had if it was a sunny day, I think Arsenal at the time, with the confidence, they would have obliterated them. But it suits Brighton down to the ground. They train in these conditions, and so I think 0-0 for Brighton at home is quite good. And for Arsenal, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth after such good momentum of the previous 3 games.
I agree. It's a tough one for me going forward again on the wildcard with what to do with my Brighton. The popular picks on the wildcard in goalkeepers are either Sanchez, Ramsdale, or Brentford's Raya. And at the moment, I have no reason to sell Sanchez because I know that Brighton, we'll get into that just now, Brighton don't concede many chances. So there's always a chance of them doing well. But at the same time, Ramsdale has good fixtures.
That's it. Ramsdale, I think, has really good fixtures, and he's really proved himself, and he looks like he's nailed on. I don't see Leno getting back in the team.
But okay, the thing to keep in mind is that he's now 4.6, whereas Sanchez is 4.5 still, and Raya is 4.6 as well.
And that 0.1 makes a really big difference.
A massive difference, as we will see later on. But yeah, Crystal Palace and Leicester on Sunday, 2-2 draw. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember anything about this game.
Well, Leicester were 2-0 up, right?
Yes, they were.
Was it Crystal Palace were 2-0 up, or Leicester were 2-0 up? I think it was Leicester that were 2-0 up.
I can't remember, but isn't this the game where Vardy scored a hat trick?
Yeah, Vardy scored himself a hat trick. Yeah,
Yeah,
wrong hat trick, and he still did so good. I saw other people had Vardy in their team and got a shed load of points, and I thought, hey, scored
yeah,
himself
a
a goal,
brace
own
and a
goal.
own goal.
Yeah, but they were 2-0 up, right?
Oh, I can't see it, but yeah, they definitely were.
Yeah.
And
So
then I think
good for
oddly,
Crystal Palace. Terrible for Leicester. What is
at least
going on at Leicester?
at least they're scoring goals. Both teams, that is.
Do you think? Do you think Rodgers might be in a little bit of a pickle?
I don't think so. I think their
No, you
owners
think
are
he's safe?
very, very patient. Unless Newcastle comes in there and throws money at Rodgers, I don't see why he would get sacked. He's done well
Do you
with them.
think Rodgers would, if it was Rodgers' choice, do you think he would leave for Newcastle?
I, I ooh, I don't know. I
Like
don't think so.
if I was Rodgers and Newcastle said, "Look, we're going to give you a shed load of cash," I would think the moment I go 3 games without a win, they're going to get rid of me because they're probably going to be impatient, right?
Yeah,
Leicester are definitely more patient, but I wouldn't be shocked if question marks start coming over as Rodgers because they're just not delivering. They're not performing this season. They should be doing better.
they should be, but I think with time they'll be fine. But
Because we
team,
usually talk about Leicester as a top 4 contender,
mm,
and they're nowhere near that this season, are they?
not at the moment, but I think they will get there. Most likely, top 10
Do
at
you,
least.
do you think so? Yeah, that's what I think. This season, probably top 10, top 6 would be nice, but top 4, I think it's out of sight already.
I think that the big four clubs are the favourites for that this season. Spurs, I don't see doing much. Leicester, maybe. West Ham will, I think, inevitably just drift away because of Europa and not being used to it. So I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's how it's going to end up going.
Yeah.
Spurs are doing well, though. They've improved their record. 2-1 win over Villa. A brace of assists for Son. I don't have any of their players. How do you feel not owning any Spurs players?
Well, I mean, they've come off the back of 3 games lost, and then they've just won one. Not owning Son is the biggest concern. I wanted Son from the beginning of the season, so that is a shame. But his price is just so weird because it's 10 million, right? So it's a premium player, but to fit him in with the likes of Salah, Trent, and Lukaku, and that, it's really difficult.
It's a very awkward price point. Where because
Yeah,
at the moment with the big players that we have up front, it means that we can only afford Salah in midfield, and then the rest have to be either 6.5 or less. So to find that extra 3 million from somewhere, it's like drawing blood from a stone at the moment. It's the worst for me on a wild card because I'm trying to fit him in, and it's just yeah. What are you thinking about your West Ham players after they've lost 2-1 to Brentford? Or do you only have Antonio, right?
what do you mean, my West Ham players? I only have Antonio.
Okay, you're one West Ham player then.
Uh, I think I missed the golden time to own the West Ham players, and I've shoehorned Antonio back into my team. Right, I tried to get Ben Rama, and then he quickly left it when I wildcarded, and then I got Antonio back, and I, I think with their fixtures coming up, I don't really expect much from Antonio, but I won't be moving him on anytime soon.
Yeah, he's still the best priced striker in his bracket, like in terms of form,
Oh
points,
yeah,
attacking numbers,
yeah,
everything. So there's no point in getting rid of him yet.
no. So if I was wildcarding, I might take a punt moving him on, especially if I want to get Son back in the team. Well, not back in the team, into the team. But at the moment, he's in my team and he can stay. But Brentford, very impressed by this team that's just been promoted.
Yeah, are you at all considering Mbermo or Tony again?
Yeah, I was looking at Tony. I thought, oh, Tony would be a good priced striker to bring back in the team, especially if I want to afford to bring a Son in. I'd have to downgrade possibly Antonio. So I think Brentford and Tony are good options going forward.
Definitely, especially looking for that extra money. And then
Yeah.
the main event for the weekend, Liverpool and Man City. I watched that. I don't think you did, but yeah, Mo Salah was on his absolute best, and City again, even though they were playing very well, Liverpool attacking wise, very good on the day.
Yeah, I watched the highlights and Salah is just absolute. It's so annoying. That moment you think, now they're playing Man City. This I think you came up with a stat that they'd only faced 5 shots or something in the opening 4 games. They play Liverpool and Liverpool just tear them to shreds. And Salah, what a player! And I'm very confused why no one ever talks about Salah for winning any award. Don't know if I should have mentioned which award. But what does that man have to do? I think at the moment he is better than Ronaldo. He's better than Messi.
I think
Do you think he'll ever win?
yeah, I think he will. But ultimately, I think
Yeah.
if they had done better in Europe last season, or even won the
Mm.
league, then he would have been maybe top 5 in terms of potential winners. But because he didn't, kind of gets overlooked.
But he also didn't even win Player of the Month, and Ronaldo won Player of the Month, and
I saw that, and
absolutely
that confused me. But those awards are
that's
stupid
who's
anyway.
voting on these panels, because I
So
want
Alex
their
Ferguson.
job because it probably pays more than my job, and I can do a better job.
Yeah, it's probably Sir Alex.
Oh yeah, probably. It's like, oh, there's nobody better than Ronaldo.
Anyway, let's have a look at some of the attacking numbers or team stats since game week 4, the last international break, until the most recent one now. And attacking
Yes.
wise, the top 4 clubs,
Liverpool.
yeah, as expected, Liverpool, Man United, Wolves, still doing very well attacking wise, but not scoring too much. Chelsea, Brentford, and Man City. And yeah, so attacking
I
wise,
think
they're
every
still,
team there you expect
yeah,
them all,
it makes a lot of sense.
especially Brentford.
The way they play, they don't mind going for it, but they're also pretty solid defensively. And this is ranked by minutes per big chance. And again, all these stats come from Fantasy Football Scout, so join their members area and have a look at them. On the opposite end of the table, though, it's a bit worrying seeing Southampton, Leeds, and Brighton there. So, not tempted by their players, are you?
No, and I'm shocked that Norwich are down there as well. Like a team like Norwich, why are they 4th from the bottom? Norwich, what's
Yeah.
going on? I'm not surprised by Southampton. Not surprised by Brighton. I'm surprised by Leeds because they're an attacking team.
Yes, I would say the stat that I've managed to sort it by is maybe a bit uh, confusing. If you look at the next column, the minutes per chance is,
Yeah.
if you look at Leeds's, it's 5.9, and if you compare it to Liverpool, who's 5, it's more. It shows you how much attacking they actually do. But the big chances, because Leeds haven't had a striker for the last month, with Bamford being out, they've
Mm.
largely been creating chances from like outside of the box with Rafinha shooting and that kind of thing. So big chances are slightly lower at the moment. But still a good team to look out for.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In terms of their defense, though, team stats, once again, sorted by minutes per big chance conceded. Lo and behold, the worst team defensively is Norwich. 31.7
What?
minutes per big chance conceded. Uh, Watford, Southampton also there. So not looking good for the 2 promoted teams. And you can see why Watford sacked their manager.
It's nice to see Norwich at top of a league.
Yeah,
It's not often that happens, is it?
not at all.
I think Norwich fans see this. They think they're back in the championship. They're like, oh, Canary sitting on the pretty perch. Look at that. Yeah, I think nothing's surprising here. Norwich, Watford, Southampton, maybe Tottenham is a little surprising. Newcastle, Brentford, Crystal Palace, but yeah, there's nothing shocking here, is there?
Not really, but again, the opposite end of the table. This showing you
Yeah.
teams who are actually good at defending. They don't concede many big chances.
Mm.
Arsenal, by far and away the best. 190 minutes per big chance conceded. So once every 2.5 games, they're conceding a big chance. And then Wolves
This
and
is
Brighton.
this is every Arsenal fan's nightmare. Arsenal at the arse of the table, but
Yeah,
luckily it's not the worst table to be at the arse end. Yeah, Arsenal have been pretty good. I think Ramsdale in goal is really helping.
it is. They're limiting their opponents to not concede many chances in the box too. So
Mm,
much like Man City. So there's a reason why they're doing well defensively. So again, looking at
yeah.
Brighton and Arsenal, I don't think it really matters who you end up going with uh, defensively in goalkeepers wise. It's either, I think that the common thread at the moment is either Sanchez and Ben White in defense or Ramsdale and Duffy in defense.
I do agree. I think choosing between Arsenal and Brighton defenders or goalkeeper is quite similar, and especially with the defenders, because Arsenal Brighton's defenders, you're hoping they'll get you a clean sheet. You're not expecting them to go score you a goal like a Liverpool defender. So it might just be a budget thing. So for me, keeping Sanchez and keeping that extra one that 0.1 million in the bank is a lifeline.
I think so too. And I don't want to say the annoying thing, the a lot of problems that you have on a wild card is that you tend to feel like you are obligated to wild card away from the players that are commonly picked at the moment. So players like Duffy and Sanchez, even Ben White, a lot of people still have them in their teams because they started with them, right? So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, the temptation on the wild card is to get rid of them and get the Ramsdales, get the other players, when in actual fact they could end up doing very well.
I do think when you're wild carding, that is such a temptation to think, okay, I need a few differential players, and I am wild carding, so I need to justify that, and so I'm going to change everything I can.
Yeah, I'm trying not to
But
do
it's
that.
okay to keep, yeah, because when I wild carded, I kept a number of players. I kept Trent. Shockingly, I kept Shaw. I kept Sanchez. Yeah. So apart from Shaw, sometimes there are some players who should just stay in your team.
So players who should stay in our teams. Having a look at the defenders from the last 3 game weeks in terms of their expected goal involvement.
Yeah.
Topping that stat is Aspilicueta, definitely being considered on the wild card, but maybe a bit too expensive, 6.1. Matt Ritchie somehow, Target and Trent again.
Somehow.
Alonso is
Somehow.
there, and at the bottom of that list we have, or yeah, it's Ruben Diaz, Walker Peters, and Brentford's Pinnock. Uh, are any of these players tempting you besides just Trent?
Well, before I tell you, I'm well informed that Richie is actually an avid listener to this stream. But I think after what you just said, he's going to not listen anymore.
He's gonna
Not
block.
surprisingly, Richie he's going to block. He'll play Fantasy Challenge. Don't want to listen to those idiots. Uh, I, I think you just hit the nail on the head. I would love that Chelsea defender, but he's 6.1. And I kept enough money in the bank so I could go back to Trent. So I think he's a little bit out of reach at 6.1. But if I was moving Shaw on, which I'd like to possibly do, then actually, I need to look at the fixtures because I'm not sure what Newcastle's fixtures are like. Um, I'm really not sure.
I wouldn't. We're going to look at the fixtures just now, but the
Uh,
if you were to choose between, because you have the money in the bank, would you
yeah.
choose to get Trent this week, or would you rather get a Man City defender who has 3 great games, including this week against Burnley.
Yeah, Man City do have some amazing fixtures, and I've been worried I don't have any Man City players in my team. And was it last season that Cancelo kind of burst onto the scene, or was it the
Yeah.
season before? And I had him in my team so early on that he did so good, and I haven't had him in my team this year, and he's doing great. And so he's another player I kind of want back in my team. I miss that guy. We had good times together.
He's surprisingly not on this list for whatever reason. But, I mean, Diaz is here. And I think it's, again, the worry is rotation. Same with Chelsea.
Yeah.
But, again, you currently in your team, you have Rudiger. So you have to decide, he's going to be your player who plays most weeks. So do you want to end up getting Diaz, who's going to play 2, or do you want the more attacking option in Cancelo, maybe?
But Rudiger might. He's yellow flagged at the moment, so if he's injured,
Yeah.
then I have a big problem that I might have to stay with Shaw because I can't make too many moves. I think the difficulty this week, a lot of people are going to have a lot of injuries.
Personally, I think they're all fine. I think both Lukaku and Rudiger are fine. The
Yeah.
only reason Rudiger didn't play, they said resting muscle or his back injury or something. But I would say the main reason is that the game was against Macedonia, I think it was. It was a really, really
I think so.
bad game. So like there was no reason to play him. So
Yeah.
why not give him a rest? And with Lukaku, Belgium had just lost in the Nations League semi-final. They only had to play the 3rd and 4th playoff. So again, there's nothing to play for. Give him a rest.
Yeah.
So I think you're fine there. Midfielders, though. Attacking midfielders over the last 3 game weeks. Salah and Mane dominating the top three. Zaha is there too. And of course, Jota. And then Burmo from Brentford at 5.5, showing his value. And Townsend just below him with 2, and Rafinha as well. Good options for
Yeah,
you to
Townsend's
replace.
been very impressive.
Yeah, good options for you to replace Traore with.
Yeah. Also, I was reading that Jota might be a player that's not going to play this weekend, and if that's true,
I think that's true.
then that's another concern.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then my team is really.
Do you have him as well?
Yeah, I have Jota as well. Pretty much everyone I have has a little flag next to them saying, "Help me." I'm in Leighton's team and I don't want to play. Oh, Annie wildcarded. Just add some salt to the wound.
So you
Do
might
you
have to
Jota?
I do, but I wildcarded, so I've gotten rid of him.
Oh, right. Yeah, so I've got some choices to make. Do I get rid of Traore? Do I get rid of Shaw? Do I get rid of Jota? Oh, it's a minefield, and I never like that game.
I've just thought of something, so I'm gonna suggest it to you at the end and see what you say. I'm not
And
gonna
I will
suggest
say
it.
no, and
I'm
then it
gonna
will happen.
pose it to you, but we'll see. Bottom of this list, Trincao, Bernardo, Grealish, and Saka. Saka, I think it's okay that he's down there. He's still very good for them. Their fixtures are great. I would keep him.
Yeah, I'd keep him Saka.
Forwards, best forward over the last few weeks, apparently, and maybe this is why they gave him the award. Ronaldo, best for expected goal involvement, 3.66. Ivan Toney in second. Jamie Vardy, the goal machine. Lukaku and Werner, top 5. And then Saint Maximin and Aubameyang. Interesting, top few players.
And the only one I'd argue I'm surprised by is probably Toney.
His consistency against the big clubs over the last few weeks has been surprising. Even though he hasn't scored many goals, his link-up play has been great.
Yeah.
And he's setting up in Burmo more often than not. Wang Hee-chan in the middle of that table there, despite not playing many games, already has 3 goals to his name, 5.6 million. So surely worth considering.
Surely.
Although he
everyone should have a Korean player in the team.
To me, he's the kind of striker who you buy him now, and for some reason they play Traore this weekend and bench him.
That would be my dream. My dream. Please, Traore. Yeah. I've got to keep him, maybe. Please. Traore scores a goal and gets an assist.
That'd be great. Anyway, yeah, are the fixtures for you? I have the game weeks from 8 to 15 here currently, and the top of the fixture ticker at the moment are Leeds and Chelsea and Southampton, with some very good fixtures over the next 3 weeks. So I'm quite happy, as I mentioned earlier, to keep Rafinha, because even if he doesn't play against Southampton, I'm happy to play him against whoever they play next. Chelsea, I think Brentford might hold firm this weekend. But again, next week they play Norwich, so I'm easily going to have at least 1 or 2 players on the wildcard there. And what about you? Are you worried about not having that many Leeds and Chelsea players?
I mean, I'm worrying about many things here, Challen. So, yeah, I'm worried about quite a few things. I was just looking at my team because I've got Livramento. He's the first player on the bench at the moment. And they're playing Leeds. And if Rafinha doesn't play and Bamford's not playing, then Livramento will probably be in my team.
Yeah, it's a good option to have if that's the case. Who else is on your bench? Alan?
Oh, let me double check. Yeah, Allen and Williams for the mighty Canaries. Don't you the Canaries?
Not a good option, right?
That's why he's third on the bench at the moment.
Yeah, makes sense. But like this week, you have Ronaldo. Okay, so looking at the bottom of the fixture ticket, we have Watford, West Ham, and United, with Everton also there. United having a very bad run coming up. Ronaldo's already suffered a price drop earlier last week, maybe even another one before this weekend. There's a lot of potential fires to put out, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be off camera for a second, but don't worry, I'll still talk. But,
okay.
With Ronaldo, I know his price has dropped a little, but it's not a concern. It's good for people who wildcard him, maybe, because they can get him in their team. But I'm not too worried. I mean, these are the mighty Red Devils, Challen. Manchester United, history of 27 years under a Scottish manager. Hello, everybody. I'm back.
And he's back. Okay.
And I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the scenery.
Yes, the Welsh flag in the background.
And this little happy cloud.
Yeah, I think for you at the moment...
Oh, mate, Wales beat Estonia last night. 1-0.
Can they still qualify for the World Cup? Or Euros or whatever?
Well, actually, but they probably won't get second in their group, and they've already booked a qualification route through the Nations League, so they can get a qualification match. But I don't think Wales will get to the World Cup. I want to be in Scotland's group. Scotland have the easiest World Cup group. Or England's. Anyway, back to Premier League.
I think this week for you, you just have to worry about the immediate danger, and that's just
of everyone.
Yeah, like worry about who's definitely not playing this week, and if they are playing, even if they're playing like a half, I would keep them and try and hope that the same happens as last week, where everyone has a bad week.
That's my hope.
Yeah.
Never have I hoped my team does so badly before. I'm like, Salah, please don't score. Antonio, it's okay if you pull your hamstring today.
Speaking of Salah, predictions for this game week. Let's rapid fire through them. And first game of the weekend, Watford versus Liverpool. What are you going?
Yeah. Watford actually normally can pull off a result against Liverpool, so I'm going to go 3-0 to Liverpool.
Nice. I'm going to say 3-0 as well. The captaincy is going to be an issue because it's the early kickoff, and the whole myth behind not captaining the early kickoff player will be tested this week.
Don't worry about myths. This is Salah. He's Egyptian. He breaks all these myths.
True. Aston Villa Wolves, Birmingham Derby. I'm going with a Aston Villa win.
Did you just say? Oh, okay.
1-1.
It's not a
1-0.
Birmingham derby. It's Birmingham and
Yeah.
Wolverhampton. They're different
Yeah.
cities, man.
That area, man. I forgot
Yeah,
the
the
word.
Midlands derby.
The Midlands.
The
There we go.
Midlands derby.
That's what I meant.
Oh, if that, you know what, you've lost Richie as a subscriber from Newcastle, and now everyone in Wolverhampton is going to say, "What did that Challen man just say about us? Birmingham derby." Anyway, go on. What's your prediction?
1-0. Villa. They're in good form.
Villa. You going with the city of Birmingham?
Yeah, I am.
Well,
What do you say?
I'm going to keep our subscribers happy. I'm going to say Wolves are going to win 1-0.
Another 1 goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll be like this. Wang Hee-chan, 1-0. Leighton was correct.
Leicester Man United.
Oh, the Devils are going to be making the Foxes regret everything. What does the Fox say? Well, Leighton says, you know what, Leicester are in such bad form, but Manchester United are not in great form. I'm going to say 3-2 to Manchester United.
Wow, high scoring.
Yeah.
2-2 draw. I tend to agree with the high scoringness.
Man City. 2-2s.
Man City, Burnley. I am going to. Burnley hate playing against Man City, and City love them. So 4 or 5-0 Man City.
When Manchester City come off of a draw and they play a team like Burnley, you know it's going to be an absolute hiding. Yeah, I'm going to go with 4-0 to Manchester City.
It's so worrying not having many of their players.
Yeah.
Norwich.
You know, I had Grealish at the beginning of the season, and I just see Grealish going and getting the hat trick or something. Like,
yeah.
Why'd I get rid of Grealish? I got rid
Norwich
of Grealish and I
versus
brought in Traore.
Brighton. What do you think?
The battle of the birds. Seagulls are bigger than canaries, so I'll say. You know what? Norwich are awful. I'm going Brighton. Brighton are going to get some good goals. 2-0 Brighton.
Ooh, defensively, I agree with you with Brighton, but I think Norwich need a win. I can't. It feels wrong for me
they
to.
always need a win, Challen. It's not like the first 5 games though, but we don't need this one.
But this is like their first real chance at getting a win at home, and I don't want to predict a Norwich win because I hate Norwich, but 1-1. Fair.
Why do you hate Norwich? What have Norwich done to you, Challen?
Nothing. Southampton versus Leeds. I'm going with if Rafinha isn't playing, then Southampton win 1-0. If Rafinha is playing, then I'll probably sway the other way. 1-0 Leeds.
Yeah, this is a really tricky one, right?
Mm.
I don't want Leeds to score because Livramento is in my team. If Rafinha is not playing, then I think I'm going to go. I think it's going to be boring. I think it's going to be 0-0.
Oof. And the main event of Saturday, Brentford versus Chelsea. What do you think?
You know, when bees sting, they die. So they're going to score a goal and then get slapped up. I'm sorry, Brentford. I think it's going well, but Chelsea are about to rip you apart. 3-1 to Chelsea.
Boo. I tend to agree, but I'm going to keep the clean sheet for Chelsea. 2-0 Chelsea. Sunday, Everton, West Ham, draw. I don't know what, but it's going to be a draw.
It's Moyes versus his old club. It's Benitez versus a club he didn't manage. So I think West Ham are riding their luck. I think Everton have got this. It's at the Goodison Park. Nice, good result for them. 1-0 Everton.
I think Richarlison and DCL are back in training, I think.
2-0 Everton.
Newcastle Spurs. Newcastle on a high after being bought, but no players, no manager probably. Spurs.
They just field no one.
Spurs 2-0. Son brace. Kane brace of
Yeah,
assists.
They're going to all be singing their songs and they won't care. They'll be like, it doesn't matter. It's It's the first game of the new regime. Yeah, I'm going with Spurs. I think Kane will finally get on the score sheet. 2-0.
And Arsenal versus Crystal Palace.
Vieira
Monday
is
Night
going back
Football.
to Arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
I think Crystal Palace have been doing really well recently. But I think Arsenal will edge this one. I'll say 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, this is frustrating because I think Palace will score, and this then defeats the purpose of me having Ramsdale in goal, especially if I think Brighton are going to keep a clean sheet against Norwich. 2-1 Arsenal, and I think, Palace will score. Maybe take the lead early on.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a tough game week.
I think so.
Tough game week. And I think the wildcarders could end up having a big one if they captain differentials, but potentially. Have a look at our teams. You mentioned not having a Man City player earlier, but you have the legendary Scott Carson on your bench, who's the backup goalkeeper for them.
The legend.
The
I brought him in because why did I bring him in? I can't remember.
Edison didn't play.
Edison wasn't playing. Yeah, you're right. I do have a City player on my team. Great. All my worries are gone. I'm so excited.
You have one free transfer, 3.3 in the bank. What are your captaincy?
Yeah.
What are you going to do, and what are your transfers potentially going to be?
I don't care about no myths about captaining the first game of the week. Salah is my captain. I don't care. Nothing's changing this time. Nothing's changing. You hear me? Sticking with it. But my transfer, I have absolutely no idea where to go. Shaw could go. If Rudiger's injured, I'm not sure. Traore. I'm keeping Ronaldo. I don't think I'm going to Lukaku. I might regret that. I think I'm going to keep Ronaldo. Oh, I really don't know. Go on. You said before, I have a really good idea and I'll tell you later. So go on, tell me.
I agree with you keeping Ronaldo. That can wait because who knows, with Leicester's defense, you could get a couple of goals there. So the priority would be checking whether Rudiger is fit and whether Shaw is worth keeping and Traore. So it's one of those three, surely. Oh, and Jota as well. Sorry, Jota.
Yeah,
That's
Jota,
actually...
yeah.
So scratch that. It'll be Rudiger and Jota being fit. And if Rudiger is fit, like I think, and Jota isn't, then your decision comes down to get Trent for Shaw, which on paper I think is the best option, or you could take Jota out and replace him with a certain Spurs midfielder because you have the money in the bank.
Now, if I go Jota to Son, that is me signing a contract saying I'm not going back to Trent.
For now.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to sell Ronaldo in the coming weeks, which gives you, if you're going to get Lukaku, that gives you 1 million, and then you'll probably sell Traore and get another 1 million, which gives you enough money to get Shaw to Trent. You just need to hope he doesn't go
quite
berserk.
Possibly. But I think before the game week begins, they'll have a tinker, and it could go anyway. I could bring Son in. I might go back to Trent. Might take a hit. I'm really not sure.
Yeah, if you're willing to take a hit, then it would probably be a good idea to just do Shaw to Trent and maybe Jota to a Man City midfielder. I like that punt as well.
Yeah, I might go back to Grealish.
No, not Grealish. I think it would be Foden or Torres for me if I were to pick him.
Grealish is the man.
You did not see him on the tables earlier. He wasn't there at all.
He's not there because he's waiting in the wings.
But okay, let's look at my team. Oh, the current draft that I'm on, wildcard wise. And currently there's no money in the bank. And I have in goal, I think the structure is more or less going to stay the same, but I'll tell you what's going to change. In goal, I currently have Ramsdale and Foster. Defense, Chilwell, Trent, Cancelo, Duffy, and Livramento. In midfield, Mbermo, Rafinha, Salah, Son, and Brownhill. Up front, I still have Antonio, Lukaku, and Wang Hee-chan. What do you think of it, just on the face of it?
I think this is looking nothing like the final team of your wild card. That's what I think.
What don't you like?
I don't like all the good players you chose. I'd take Lukaku out, get Pookie, take Son Heung-min out, and put in an injured player.
Jota.
Yeah, Jota. Take Cancelo out and get a Norwich defender.
So, just for reference, I basically in midfield I had Torres, Benrahma, Rafinha, Salah. I don't remember who the other midfielder was, but Torres and Benrahma, and Jota, those three.
Jota, you have Jota.
And then in defense, I had Rudiger.
Do you think this midfield is better?
I think for the fixtures coming up, I do. Okay, so let me tell you in midfield, my changes would be, and it depends. So we know now that Trent is fit, so Trent stays, and the option is whether Chilwell will start this weekend. So it's either going to be Rudiger or Chilwell. Probably going to end up with Rudiger, but he is, I think, 0.2 more. So that's why I've gone for Chilwell. In midfield, if I don't get Son, then I'm probably going to get one of Foden or Torres. But if this is, as I mentioned earlier, on the wild card, you're more tempted to go for players you didn't have. So I already had Torres, and he was crap. And now City have very good fixtures coming up. I expect City to score 4 against Burnley. So why wouldn't I just keep Torres? But I see Son, and I think, ooh, why not? So I might get.
Have you ever considered
Torres.
the Lord and Savior Townsend from Everton?
No,
Perfect.
Screw Everton.
I think Son Heung-min. They play Newcastle, which is amazing, right? It's perfect. It's great. But then West Ham, Man United, Everton. Not the most ideal fixtures, but it's Son Heung-min, isn't it?
I think they can score against all of those.
Yeah, I think as well. It's Son Heung-min who is the star player of Tottenham versus a Man City player who could be rotated unless it's Grealish because he's waiting in the wings. He's always played, man.
Sure. Alternatively, I get, as I mentioned, I would get Torres, and that gives me like 3 point something in the bank, and then I could use that money to get potentially a second Man City defender instead of Duffy. So
yeah,
and
you could change Salah for Sarr.
I could do that. So
and you could captain him.
Tell me if you prefer this team, or if you would rather have. So look at the team. If you could choose to not have Duffy, Son, and Wang, and instead have
I like the way you say Wang.
Those 3 players leave the team, and instead I get a Man City defender, a second one. In midfield, I get, I don't know, someone in the 6 million range, and then up front I get Tony. Would you rather have that?
Oh.
So double City defense, a mid-price midfielder like Sarr or Tony up front.
And Tony. Oh. I like Son. I like Son in the team. But when you say double City, I like double City. Duffy, Brighton's defense is pretty good. Duffy's a nice priced player. He's nice and cheap. He has pretty good fixtures, except City and Liverpool, but he can
I
just
won't I
sit on the
won't play
bench.
him
It's fine.
unless I need to.
Yeah.
Those four midfielders are gonna play all the time. Brownhill's on the bench.
It amazes me that Wolves still have amazing fixtures because I feel like they've had amazing fixtures for the entire Premier League campaign. Oh, that's really difficult.
And then add to that, I have to decide whether I want to get Sanchez or Ramsdale and Duffy or White. So, or Rudiger or Chilwell.
If it was me, I would. If it was me, I'd probably go Sanchez and White. Probably with Arsenal. With Arsenal's fixtures, I'd like White in defence. But I don't want Sanchez in goal for week against City and Liverpool. Man, I can't help you. I'm sorry. You've made me go into my wildcard mind where I'm like, should I go Son Heung-min? Should I go double City defender? But you've got a City defender. Wouldn't you prefer one City player and Son Heung-min rather than two City players and a medium-priced midfielder?
It depends on the returns. Like if I get Diaz, then I'm guaranteed, let's say, these next 3 games, they play Burnley, Brighton, and Crystal Palace. So surely that should be at least 2 clean sheets for 2 City defenders if I have them. If I get a City midfielder, I don't know if Torres or Foden will start, so who knows? And if I get someone like Sarr, they have bad fixtures. I don't know if he's going to score. Everton have bad fixtures too. I don't know if he's going to score either.
Yeah.
Or I get a second Chelsea defender.
Chelsea, yeah. I don't know. There's no Chelsea midfield players interesting you right now?
No, it would be
No one?
Mount, but no one else.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Nowhere near is
How
this
much money do you have left in the bank in this draft?
0.0. All of my money is in this team. And I don't like that, to be honest.
But the thing is, it's a good team though.
It is. It should do well. It's very similar to what I currently have, and that's the annoying thing. Like at the moment, remember, I have my third striker is Dennis from Watford. So I'm worried that
Wang is much better.
I'm worried that Wang is going to turn into Dennis.
No, I think Wang is much better. Much better.
We'll have to see. Anyway, lots of time before deadline day. We'll decide. Deadline day, what am I saying? Before deadline. Let's have a look at social media. I'm probably going to captain Salah this week, as you mentioned. I'm not going to worry about
probably. If you have the courage to go against Salah as captain, I am going to laugh at you when Salah scores 3 goals.
Yeah, the option is Lukaku, Salah, or Son, I guess, this week.
It's Salah all day, isn't it? He's going to get 58 points.
We can only hope. We can only hope.
Come out, man. Like I said, might as well. It's a wild card.
Yeah, if I have the money, so I may as well, right?
Might as well.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do that at FantasyChallenged on Twitter and Instagram, on not Facebook, YouTube, FantasyChallenged, one word, and the podcast on whichever podcast platform you listen to us on, Apple, Spotify, Google Play, podcasts, wherever. And it was quite a long podcast this week, Leighton. Wow.
Yeah, quite long.
Surprisingly.
We had lots to talk about.
We did. Yeah, this is what happens when you take a week off. We ramble a bit.
So much changed.
it
I don't think so. I think we had a lot to talk about.
There was a lot. Yeah, lots have changed. Wild cards, bad weeks. Hopefully next week is much better. Anyway.
For me.
Not for me, though. Right.
I hope your wild card I hope whatever choice you make, like if you choose Son instead of Man City defenders, I hope the City defenders score. If you choose the City defender, I hope Son scores.
What happens if we come on here next week and I've got 100-point game week from my wild card and you don't?
Oh, I'm not coming on. Simple as that. Next week is a one-man show. I'm not listening to that podcast. I'm not watching it on YouTube. I'm just going to stay clear. It's just, what's the point? You're smug enough when you get like 2 points more than me. So what? You get 100 points, I get 15. Yeah, I'm okay.
All right,
Get a new co-host.
Let's hope that doesn't happen and that we both do well this week. Good luck for the game week. Have a nice weekend and see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
See you next time, Challen. Goodbye.